IGP's visit when he spoke about that special recruitment and priority recruitment for the youth of Bawku. Do you think that statement had any impact on the young people of Bawku at all? Did you, I mean, what have the interactions been?
Right. So, Keminni, let me state that when the IGP arrived at the Bawku Nabes Palace, he arrived to meet a huge group, a mammoth group of young people. And the interesting thing was that they held placards which read, "Stop killing us," or "Stop killing innocent people. We want the police out. We want the police commander out," and all of those things.
So I should bring him in.
Yes. So already it was a tense situation there. But along the line, as the police started engaging the Bawku Naba and came out of his residence, and I mean the palace, and in front of the palace where they have a shed where usually they meet visitors, he also engaged the youth there. And then along the line, there was a bit of ease there. But then I think when the IGP was leaving, it appeared that there were a bit of agitations before he left. Not physical, but you could see that the youth were not actually very happy because, I mean, Keminni, from what I've gotten from my engagement with people around there, I mean, the people of Bawku, let me put it that way, have high hopes or had high hopes that when the new government comes to power, obviously the issue will be resolved. And so they didn't expect that it will extend this long, where we see people getting killed and all of that. And so across both factions, it appears to be a very big issue. And whenever they call, even talk about, I mean, privately, they raise issues of the fact that they really want the conflict to be resolved once and for all. And so it appears that when the IGP visited the youth, the Kusok youth, or youth within the Kusok traditional area, were not really happy at all, and they didn't hide that, or they didn't mince their words in their statements that they gave to the IGP. They even extended to him a petition with a number of things, including telling him that he had to make sure that he removed the other chief from the town. And also, I
see. Councillor, how about you hang on for me? I'm going to come back to you. We'll learn from you what, what else the IGP is doing from tomorrow. We know that tour of Bawku is not over. Let's bring in now some expert opinion into this matter. Richard Kumado is a security expert who's joining us on this subject matter. Richard, again, thank you so much for your patience on the program. But we've seen the situation rise gradually in Bawku, and we've seen the moves that authorities are making so far. Can we heave a sigh of relief yet?
Definitely, the IGP going to Bawku is very timely. His presence in Bawku brings to fore some level of understanding of many of the threats his men are facing in the front line. I'm also happy to hear that the IGP did not just go to Bawku, but he went there with some level of high levels of protective vehicular equipment for the frontliners. And he encouraged them the manner they could carry themselves without being caught up in the crossfire. So that is a good one. His men has come under fire. There have been high levels of agitations against them. So I think doing the security risk assessment himself and being abreast with what goes on in the front line, it gives him an idea that when he comes back, he might have some discussion with the president. Coupled with the fact that President Mahama today spoke extensively about the discussions he had with our grandfathers in Keminni and the need for his mediation team to step in. I think there should be some high hopes and some level of relief. We will need to wait and see what will be the outcomes of the initial movement by Ashantehini and his mediation team. Then we will look at acceptance, we'll look at cordiality, how the engagements have been so far, and what has been the response from both sides. Then we can assess whether something concrete to come out of it or not. But for an IGP to visit the battleground where his men have come under fire with a lot of accusations, I think is the right thing to do at the right time.
I see. But we also know that the minority, we also know that the minority is not happy with how things have played out in respect to some comments that the IGP has passed during his visits about priority recruitment. The IGP has come out to explain what he meant by that. Again, this is a side rail matter, but I do want to find out from you with the IGP's clarification on the matter. Should it put it to rest?
Definitely, my uncle Yono has had his fair share of the media turbulence, and I think he will need his corporate affairs people to be speaking for him, speaking in the front line, particularly when it comes to security communication. Has a lot of dynamics, and it may create many negative tendencies and media reportage for him. It's unfortunate he said it the way he said it the first time. I'm hoping and praying that this clarification giving priority. I think that where the intention is giving priority or to have a prioritized service for people in Bawku when opportunity comes and recruitment is open for everybody. But I mean, why are we talking about this particular one in line with what the IGP said and the feedback? You remember the Minister of Interior set up a team to look out for modalities and strategic ways of employing people into the police in particular. It would be important for the media to ask the Minister of Interior what has happened to the committee's work, whether they finish or not. I was thinking the IGP would have been mindful of that and not delving into this particular matter, even if that is the intention. But having said that, he has come under fire, and even though he clarified, let's hope that it will be laid to rest and the right thing will be done. Giving people opportunity is great. They meeting the criteria is great. Following standardization is great, so that we do not have people into the service, which has come under a lot of criticism because of the feedback and the government not reaping the dividends of employing people into the police in particular. And I think we need to be mindful going forward when it comes to issues of recruitment in particular into the police service.
I see. Richard, hold your horses for me. I'll bring in now Palgrave Boache Dankwa. Again, I'll say to you too, thank you so much for your time. We've just received that statement from the Africa Institute of Governance and Security, where you are now. Talk to us about some of the recommendations you're making in the statement.
And a very good evening to your listeners and viewers. And to state that at our institute, we are very deeply concerned with the crisis that is ongoing in Bawku, and we are calling for a comprehensive and inclusive approach in ensuring the resolution of the long-standing ethno-political disputes between the Kusasis and the Mamposis. And suggestions are these: that the government should ensure and enhance security measures, deploy strongly adequate security forces to maintain law and order, to protect lives and prevent further violence. We're also asking for the support for mediation efforts that is being led by His Royal Majesty the Otumfuo to the second Asantehene, and to provide all the logistical and political support that they need. Is that traditional leaders and civil society and all other stakeholders are supposed to support largely. We're also asking that they address the root causes of the long-standing crisis, invest in long-term solutions by addressing the underlying issues of chieftaincy disputes, land ownership, and economic marginalization in the region. We're also asking for economic empowerment for the youth in Bawku. We're asking for the government to be able to implement programs to support the youth in Bawku whose livelihood, such as commercial motorbike cycling and operations, have been halted because of the consistent curfews that have been put in place. And we are also saying very clearly that the Bawku crisis is not just a regional issue, but it's a national security threat to Ghana, which can destabilize the country because of the location of Bawku to Burkina Faso and other neighboring countries.
I see, Doc. Are you impressed so far by the moves taken by the current, administration and security chiefs?
Absolutely. I mean, the conclusion of our statement commends President John Dramani Mahama for his support, and which has always been the decision of all governments. I mean, previous governments have always had the opportunity to intervene in Bawku, and so we've commended President John Dramani Mahama, and we ask for more support from him as he resolves this long-standing issue.
Doc, one last one for you, and then we'll call it a night with you. We know that the president had indicated that Otumfuo said to the second, will resume peace talks on this matter. Your statement touches on that as well. How confident are you in that resumption of peace talks?
I am extremely confident in the leadership of His Royal Majesty Otumfuo II, and I know that the people of Bawku have the highest respect and regard for him. I trust in his wisdom, I trust in his leadership, I trust in his astute silence in ensuring that he's hearing all the various sides. And I know that as he's been able to assist in other crises that have happened in Ghana and even around the world, he will be able to help the country resolve this long-standing crisis. And I would wish him the best in this leadership.
Doc, we'll leave it here with you. Thank you so much for talking to us. Dr. Palgrave Boakye Dankwa is with the Africa Institute of Governance and Security. Still with us is security expert Richard Kumado. Richard, again, I'm going to go back to the Otumfuo issue. We know that the Otumfuo's involvement in Bawku has been long, and it's been very eventful in the sense that it has generated a lot of result and brought a semblance of peace to the matter. But it would seem that our strategy approaching the Bawku issue remains the same. And if we haven't had lasting peace, it means that we'll continue to be in this vicious cycle of going back and forth round all around this Bawku issue, running in circles. That's what I want to say. I mean, is there anything else the government could be doing at this point beyond resumption of peace talks?
Definitely, I agree with you. I think basically we need to come to the fore and understand that security governance and political governance must always be at par at all times, in all situations. The Asantehene mediation is a plus and it's an option available to us, just like we will employ the House of Chiefs and the Peace Council to come into the fore with other alternatives. But because Asantehene is the wisdom, is the Solomon of wisdom of our days, we'll always want to rely on him with a variability of options that resolves conflicts in our days. Other than that, it's always important for political governance and security governance to always be at par at all times. I have always been of the view that the security management methodology we have used in Bawku did not give us the requisite results. And there will be the need for a review of the procedure and a new approach to many of the things we have done. When you spoke to your reporter, he hinted that there has been these agitations about some of the officers on the ground and the need for them to be changed. It is a normal and a common knowledge that once people have stayed at a particular place for a very long time, one fatigue sets in, and number two, the personal motivation to get a job done is not there. Then number three, the possibility of getting involved into some other activities that has nothing to do with law enforcement and peacekeeping is very high. Then lastly, what has been the objective, the political objective or the core performance indicators for officers we have left on the ground for all this while? Until IGP Yohonu got to the ground today, it has been a very long coming that what goes on in the front line and what happens in police headquarters or the military headquarters are two different things in terms of logistics and in terms of getting closer to understand exactly what happens. And I think he's should bring some of these things to the fore whilst he have a very frank conversation with the president and his counterparts in the military, considering the fact that he's calling for a collaborative effort in security management, in keeping the public safety challenges that keep on coming to the fore.
I see. Thank you so much, Richard, for talking to us. Richard Kumado is a security analyst. We'll be discussing the situation in Bawku. But we'll wrap it up with Castro Senyala, our Upper East Region correspondent. Castro, the IGP is still in the region. What else is he there to do from tomorrow?
Tomorrow, the IGP is expected to go back towards Bawku, but we don't know where exactly he will be going, though we understand that he will touch base with Pusiga, where, a police station also came under the attack of unidentified persons. We also understand that he plans to visit the sick people, those who were injured in the clashes. We have a police officer and we have an immigration officer as well, who we understand are currently being treated. And so his handlers have not really been forthcoming with his movement. But tomorrow, we're sure going towards Pusiga, where he will be meeting a lot of his men there to, give them morale and continue to encourage them to do their best as far as helping to deal with the Bawku situation.
Very well. Indeed. Thank you so much for talking to us. Castro Senyala there, Upper East Region correspondent. Well, sending us on our very first break. But before we do, you should know what is to come if you stay with us. Because fuel prices will be going down soon. But how much and for how long will surprise you. We'll take that story when we come back. Don't go away. Welcome back. Now, things may be looking up after all, as fuel prices go down at least until the end of June this year. Now, Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy says the city's strong recovery is to thank for the reduced fuel prices. Benjamin Insia is director for the center. We'll talk to him briefly on this matter. Benjamin, good evening to you. Talk to us about how this could be the case. Hello, Benjamin. If you can hear me, I'm asking. Talk to us about how this could be the case.
I think I joined later, so can you maybe give the background?
Well, I'm asking that you talk to us about how this price drop could be the case at least until the end of June.
Okay. Thank you very much. Normally, crude oil prices have futures, and sometimes when crude oil prices plummet to such lows, prices of refined products, or the consumer may feel the price of refined products in the coming months because these products will be procured and later refined before being sold onto the market. So it takes time, but fortunately for the petroleum user, prices have been declining for some time now. For that matter, beginning the second window of April, prices of some of the major products we consume locally, that is LPG and diesel, are likely to see some drop by about 3% averagely. For petrol, there's likely going to be a stability with respect to that particular price. It may not change because on the international market, petrol, which is gasoline, saw a percentage change or an upward adjustment of about 2%. So price of petrol is likely going to remain same, but for LPG and diesel, there are going to be some drops. In future, I think the prices will continue to decline locally because future price of these refined products also look a bit plummeting, and that also gives some benefit to the petroleum user. At the time that the city has seen some stability, or for example, if you compare this current window to previous window, the city has appreciated by about 0.4%. So if the city continues to appreciate or becomes stable against the dollar, which is a major trading currency,
right,
procuring these these refined products rather, that means that the petroleum user will continue to benefit in the long term. There are certain instances where when prices on the international market begins to plummet, the regulator sometimes reneges on this responsibility, and for that matter, industry players here means marketers and importers of these products on the local market either increase their marketers' margin, stay their marketers' margin very higher, or importers also increase their importers' premium or supply premium, as we call it. And for that matter, the local consumer may not get the full benefit of that particular international market decline locally. And I think that is where
so Benjamin,
regulation.
Benjamin, how does that explain your projection now? How does it explain what we've experienced recently? Because there were marginal increases recently.
I think that if you look at the data carefully, there are certain times that we experience marginal declines on some of the products, and there are certain also times that we experience marginal increases in some of the products. But generally, I think in the last 4 or 5 windows, prices have been stable and also have seen a lot of decline. If we do a proper analysis, I think we've seen more than 15% decline in most of these petroleum products locally consumed. That is the 3 major products, that's LPG, petrol, and also diesel. Have seen a downward trend in the last 3 windows, and it will continue because prices have been favorable on the international market to the end user here. Now, the other part when some of these things happen is also that it helps us to promote the usage of LPG. LPG is one of the clean cooking fuels being championed within sustainable development goals. So if prices of petroleum products are declining, what it means that price of LPG will also continue to decline, and that benefits the country in terms of saving our environment for people to use a lot of LPG. So in general, I think that this is a benefit to the downstream locally. However, the upstream may face some challenges, as I indicated earlier, on the network, because
Benjamin, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much for your time. Now, tomorrow, 7 a.m., we'll be here with the key points. Alfred Okanse and his team of panelists will bring you the week's biggest stories, discussions from A to Z. Do join them. At 2 p.m. on Sunday, we'll talk about the country's readiness for the rains as they set in or set on. I'm Keminni Amannor. Join me again Sunday, 2 p.m. for Hot Issues. But good night from me. Have a pleasant weekend. Bye-bye.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Simply